p.m. on
Recording in progress.
May 7th, 2022. Can I please have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So everyone is aware, we are being televised through WCAT 12, our local news station. And we are also video streaming via Zoom and also Facebook. So you'll be out there in 3 different ways. If anybody else is recording, please let us know. If not, moving on. Okay, I have to make an announcement that the town meeting is on Saturday, May 14th. The special town meeting will be at 11:30 a.m. and the annual town meeting is at 12 noon to start, okay? So Valley Communication, which is on the agenda, won't be in here tonight. They had to cancel for tonight. They were a contract that we're looking at for phone service within the town hall. So they think we can get a cheaper rate, and we're gonna hear them out. It is a internet-based phone system. So, but they will be here on the 14th. Okay. Next on the agenda is the Warren Housing Authority. Are you up? No? You're the library.
They're not here.
Okay.
That's easy.
Nope. No?
No one's online for that.
Okay. West Warren Library budget. That's you?
That's us.
Come on up. You wanna sit up front here, please?
I'm sitting around here.
Yep. How you ladies doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. If you can please identify who you are and what department you work for.
So I'm Samantha Evans, and I am the director who works for the Warren Public Library Association, West
Okay.
Warren.
Okay.
And I'm Christy McCann, Assistant Director of the West Warren Library.
Thank you very much. Reason why we have that is because we're online too, and a lot of people don't know who you are. So we have everybody introduce themselves and identify what department they're working with, so we all know. Okay? All right. So budget, library.
Madeline noticed that you said you were going to do a 2.5 increase in your budget. That comes to 99,703.80, not the 98,489.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so just so you have an idea, Susan Tower and I are, Susan's our director, and Susan and I are retiring at the end of this fiscal year. So Samantha is going to be taking over. So we're
Okay.
kind of in the middle of transitioning.
Okay, very good.
So we'll do
So
our
I'm-
best. We normally don't do meetings, so just bear with us.
No, it's okay. And again, we love having libraries here. It's very important for all of the town departments and everybody to meet in meetings once in a while, so even the public get to see you. You know, everybody gets to see you on TV, and, you know, I hope you're not TV shy. We're just shy of 2 million viewers, something like that. That's what I heard last time. It might be a little more, more or less, I don't know. But, you know, people like to see who's working in these departments and who's working at our library, who's working in our highway department, who our police chief and fire chief are. And it's good to come into meetings once in a while and say hi. And
Great.
And now you're doing your budget with us tonight.
Yeah.
So what are you proposing for your budget?
So
I've
we're-
seen the 2.5% increase, which comes up to $99,703.80.
80.
Cents? The 80 is cut off. I see half of an 8.
Okay, so we'll write that down so we can have that in our budget appropriately. But yeah, basically we wanna have a 2.5% increase because we just wanna remain eligible for state aid at this point. We don't really wanna go any further on the budget because we wanna make sure everybody in the community can stabilize after COVID-19 and all the transitions that everyone's gone through. So that's
Okay.
our plan at this point with the budget.
All right. And what do you guys use what do you use the budget for? What programs will you guys do? So everybody knows.
We do a lot of things. Summer reading is probably one of our biggest things we do with the public. We
Okay.
have anywhere from 25 to 50 children that attend.
All right.
We have story time. We do device night, where our seniors come in and they get to learn how to use their devices.
Oh, very good.
You know, they forget their passwords. We like to reset their passwords.
We're gonna have to go there.
We do a lot of different things. We haven't been able to do much because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of online, we did story time and stuff online during the
Very good.
COVID, so.
Good. Again, I love the libraries, big supporter of them, great for a community. Definitely a thing to have, and thank you very much for offering programs for our seniors, because that's definitely something, you know, we need to reach out more for, and I know sometimes my kids are showing me stuff on the TV and stuff that I didn't know the TV could do, you know?
Starts early.
Yeah, it does. So, very good. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about tonight?
Do you have any questions for us, other than what we provide to the community? And on the budget specifically, or?
Are you looking at replacing books, adding books? What do you,
Well, we just recently decided we're going to weed through the audiobook collection to make space for other items, because we have an increase in items, I believe, correct? Yeah, so we'll be doing that at the moment, and I think we have a pretty good collection. So what we'll be doing with the budget is we will be purchasing new materials, so books, CDs, DVDs, electronic resources, and programming. We're planning on using that budget for possibly a Santa program in December.
okay.
So hopefully we can get to that. Collection-wise, we're doing pretty good.
Very good. All right. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so Christy, you're leaving, and Susan Tower's leaving too.
Yes.
So, are you replacing Samantha? You're gonna take over like 2 positions?
Yeah,
or-
basically.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Susan and I both have full-time jobs,
Uh-huh.
and so we split the director position between the two of us.
Okay.
So Samantha is just going to do what it takes Susan and I both to do.
Oh, I see.
She's just,
Okay.
yeah,
2 part-time to 1
Exactly.
full-time kind of thing. Okay.
exactly.
So, and your payroll's going up a little bit, so is that, are you bringing on more people, or is that just like cost of living kind of?
Cost of living.
Okay.
We haven't had cost of living increases much, so it's
Yeah.
just kind of bringing up the minimum wage.
Okay, yep, we understand that. So, the other thing I was curious about, CW Mars, like your number is twice what the Warren Library is? Do you have just more users who participate in CW Mars? How does that work?
So we have same access, but CW Mars also helps with our computers. So we have 6 patron computers and then the circulation desk. So they keep it, make sure all the security's up to date. We have what we call Arctic Cat, which erases after each patron has used the computer, so none of their personal information gets compromised. And they just make sure that everything is up and running all the time.
Okay, so it's kind of like your IT department?
Exactly.
Okay,
And it's a lot less expensive than having a personal, we had another company coming in and it was costing us a lot of money. So this was just much more cost effective.
Okay. So if you need new PCs, do they get those for you also?
Unfortunately, no. They
So you
just
still
help
have
us
to
keep
Keep
what
what
we
you
have up to
Okay.
date and running as long as they can.
Okay.
Are your computers fairly new?
I wanna say they're about 6 years old,
That's not new.
so they're not that new, right?
That might be something to start.
Eventually,
Yeah. So your materials budget is going down a bit, right?
yes, because the town, between the two libraries, all we have to meet is the 19%.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a combination of, both libraries that meet that 19%.
Okay. All right, I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you.
The COVID supplies, just so you're aware, we have an abundance of them.
Okay.
So if you ever need those, we have that available for you, so whatever you need, just let us know.
Okay.
Get with Mr. Dusty back there, he'll wave to you, he'll look back,
Okay, hi.
and he will get you whatever you need. Masks, anything, we have a lot of that stuff.
We have test kits
laying
too,
around.
if you wanna have some test
Yeah.
kits available
Oh, that's
for
fantastic.
patrons.
We've had patrons ask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
we
wonderful.
can get you those.
Okay.
check with the Board of Health, or
Alright.
Jim can probably get those for you too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions, Kirk?
Mr. Chairman, between you and Rich, I think you took all my questions, so I don't have any questions regarding the budget. I do have a comment, but that's after we complete the budget stuff for the library.
Okay. Jim, do you have any questions? No. Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so I think we're good. We don't have any more questions. You're not asking for anything extravagant. I don't see any gold toilets in there or anything like that.
Sadly.
Maybe next year's budget.
Yeah.
You might wanna forecast some computers in your future here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, this
It's in our
stuff
long-range plan.
wears out.
We're trying.
Got a plan for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay.
one a year or something, you know, wanna
Yeah.
slowly replace them.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, and congratulations on the new
Thank you.
job.
Thank you very much.
Welcome
Yeah.
welcome to the community.
I appreciate it, thank you.
You live in the community?
I do not, I live in Holland, Massachusetts.
Okay, all right, well, we'll move you here. We have housing
Close.
close.
Eventually, okay.
We'll get you
I
there.
get
Good town to live
it. I believe it.
Mr. Belize?
Are we done with budget?
We're done with the budget.
Okay, so as the same thing we did with the Warren Library, we offered Red Dot. You know about Red
Yes,
Dot from
yes.
4 years ago. So
Yeah.
if you still wanna have it, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
The West Warren, the library is getting it, so it's up to you.
Okay,
Very good,
all right.
thank you. You ladies are all set. If you wanna hang out for the rest of the meeting, or you can take off, it's up to you.
All right, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too. Lost my agenda for a second. You filed everything so nicely for me, too. Okay. Highway Department,
Yes,
how you doing, sir?
wonderful.
Again,
Yes, again.
identify who you are.
Okay. I'm Jeremy Olson, the Warren Highway Surveyor in charge of the Warren Highway Department.
Thank you, sir. All right. All right. So what do you got for us tonight, Jeremy?
Well, we've had, since the last time we discussed the budget, which was, I believe, at the end of February, we've had a lot of changes occur as far as to the plan moving forward. Obviously, meeting with this board and meeting with some other departments, we've decided that, I guess this is the best time to move forward to possibly combine efforts as far as Highway Department, Parks Department, Cemetery, and then basic the grounds maintenance of all town-owned properties. Currently, there's multiple part-timers filling all different roles to try and complete the task, and one of the key part-time employees for that position in the middle of winter actually came to work full-time for the highway department to fill a void where we lost another employee, unfortunately, due to not, paying. He left for a lot more money, which is normal. So in that taking place, it eliminated him from being able to be that big-time, part-time guy that goes to for all these projects for parks and cemetery, and he helps in a lot of other ways across town. So through this, we've kind of come to the conclusion that so we don't lose that effort, and maybe we can consolidate and create an environment where we can do a lot more across the board for the town. We propose to create a fifth position at the highway department, which is a position that used to be as just a regular 5-man crew. Years ago, a gentleman retired, the town wanted to cut funds, eliminated the position and cut the highway department down. Where that shows up the most for us is a lot of times winter time. So the way we figured this is it would utilize the fifth employee to do a tremendous amount of work for the highway department through the winter season and parks and cemetery through the spring, summer, and fall. And it would also bring all of them together as far as so all the equipment across the departments could come together. And that would create an environment where we could accomplish a lot more things. You could do bigger projects, maintenance could be handled with even multiple guys. So it was basically through that restructure, which everybody seemed to be 100% on board with, that we've had to redo this budget. And so ultimately, our largest increase from where we were is obviously payroll, is salaries. A lot of that is because of having a new position. So it's not an entry level, it's a PW2 classification, which is somebody who is required to have a CDL, to have a hoisting engineer's license, to be able to operate equipment and drive large trucks for the highway department. So that would put that person in a place to be able to do all the things that we need them to do on the highway side. And then, fortunately, being the same employee that used to work for parks and cemeteries, he's more than capable of handling and helping and taking place of all the efforts and things that need to be done on parks and cemetery. And like I said, through the combined effort, it was like, well, this seemed to be the best way to go. They could cut some budget out of each of theirs because they no longer needed the funding to support all the staff to maintain. So we kind of gobbled some of that up into our budget. So it inflates our numbers a lot. And then the rest of it is just the raises that we had already asked for. We didn't change them, we didn't increase them. There was an adjustment for the foreman's rate. One of the gentleman who's been working for us for the longest at this point, filled the role of the foreman's position. And he did it, because we really needed him to step up. And he asked if the fifth position was to open, if he could drop back to a laborer's position where he felt more comfortable and we could hire a new leader to come in and help with the leadership side, being a foreman and operator. Even though I try to tell him all the time he's more than capable of doing the job, but you can't force somebody to do that. So I have to offer him that position. And then in hiring a new foreman to have that competitive rate, it's actually kind of fortunate and unfortunate. Our neighboring town of Brimfield is going through the same thing. They have to replace their foreman in the fall because their longtime guy is retiring. And his starting rate is still quite a bit above where ours was. So in order to get closer to him, I have to offer that position as a step one to hire a new guy to put us, 50, 60 cents cheaper than, less than them, but close enough we can hopefully be competitive. But ultimately, it's, there's a little more part-time help involved because you need extra hands for parks and cemeteries, events, things like that, special occasions, whatnot. And so we needed to add a little bit more there. That was a small increase. And then as far as operating costs, I had a very small increase for highway expense and machinery maintenance because I have to take on the machinery maintenance and operating costs of running the equipment for parks and cemetery. So it's just buying more gas and oil and lawnmower blades and repairing their tractors and stuff of that nature. So there had to be a small increase there, but that, other than that, it was for the most part flat. And then the rest of my budget, I pretty much held it flat across the board. Obviously beaver removal, that's an issue we're dealing with, we increased that. I just
We
tried to
asked you to bump that up because we need to take care of the beavers.
Like I said, we're in the process now of our funds for this year. We started trapping not too long ago and they're almost gone already, so. And we're only worked on one pond, so one flooded situation. So we're obviously increasing that so we can handle, hopefully assisting that situation so it's not quite so bad next year. But you never know. So basically that's kind of it. You know, snow and ice is the same. I kept everything else pretty much the same. I went down a little bit on a few things. Obviously, my pay, I asked for a little larger increase. I asked originally for $6,000, which is essentially the match to what my employees are gonna get. With a $3 increase for them, they get $6,200 and something dollars, I think it is. So I figured, well, I'm taking on the responsibility of 2 more departments. I'm not gonna run their departments. Their boards, their commissions, still have full operating control of those departments. I'm just basically, they come to me, they need maintenance done, they need a project done. They work through me and our employees, and we accomplish all those goals. So they found we've already started to kind of go in that direction, even though it's not the next fiscal year and I'm not staffed to really help them yet. But we've already started to help them and to show them a little bit of what it's gonna be like, and it's been a really positive thing for them.
Very good.
So they're seeing the benefits already, and we're not even there yet.
Very good.
So,
And again, this is something that we've been talking about for a little while now, and it's well overdue, consolidating some of these departments to make the department more efficient and make the town a lot more efficient in the services that's being provided. We had a whole bunch of people doing the same job all over the place, instead of having just one department in charge of that job, and they handle it all. And ultimately, we read, the scope of duties, and very well done. Identifies exactly on how you're gonna be handling the projects, that you're answering to their boards for their particular areas. So it's definitely something that we had to do, and with the budgets. So the cemetery and the Parks Department decreased their budgets by sliding that money over to your budget, which increased your budget.
Correct.
To be able to take on to those additional responsibilities. But it also allows you to do much more for them.
correct.
Because if they have drainage issues, so much more that they couldn't handle
Yeah,
as a small parks department, as a highway department, you can handle the full scope of everything that needs to be done. And having tree guys on, you got your own tree guys, heavy equipment operators, you buy the materials in bulk, so you're getting them cheaper. So overall, it's a cost savings to the town. It's a win-win, so definitely a good
Absolutely.
move to happen.
Absolutely.
So, I'm good with the budget. You took on more responsibility, you're doing more, you deserve to be compensated for that added responsibility with that,
yeah.
okay? So, I don't expect anybody to work for free. Good?
I just have one question. So
Yeah,
in the past, so we had like a $40-some thousand overage with snow and ice.
yes.
But you're like level funding that every year? Would it be
So,
better to take it
so
up?
here's the way you look at that is, so I've run this department for now 3 winters.
Mhm.
And the first 2 winters, I was able to budget perfectly, where we finished the winter, the salt shed still had a significant amount of material to get ready for the next year. We didn't spend over the budget, everything went very smoothly where we didn't need to go into any reserve. So why ask the taxpayers to front money that we really don't necessarily need? This winter was extreme different. You know, we had 31 snow and ice events. So compared to 23 last year. And the 31, a lot of it was ice. We had tremendous amount of freezing rain, sleet, you know, snow to slush to rain, and then it'd freeze at night and snow again the next morning. So with that, it was just repetitive, constantly chasing it, you know, treating the roads over and over again and trying to make them as safe as possible. Which is, you know, we're not the state, we don't have an endless budget, so you have to hold back in some places. But ultimately, I felt like, you know, I was able to accomplish the goal of creating a really safe environment, the best we can anyway, with our staff and our equipment. And, you know, and I didn't do it for a whole lot over budget. I know there was a lot of other places not too far from here that went way past this number in budget. So I felt like keeping that level is the responsible thing to do right now, because I think we're asking the taxpayers for enough. And I don't want to hit them with an extra cost that they might not need to spend. So instead of making them generate revenue right now by increasing taxes or whatever to come up with another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to cover snow and ice that we might really not need. So let's hope next year we have a warmer winter, a little less events, and we can keep it under budget, so.
Okay, all right. Good.
Very good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't, did Derek see this?
Sure. This is the scope of his duties too. I don't get a chance to see that yet.
Well, I don't really need to see this. I see you guys out there. You guys outperform anything, and as a whole, you know, today we were at a science fair, we were discussing structures, and we came out that the triangle is the most rigid structure. And here we have you, police, fire, highway. Our town is very thank you to you guys, because without you, nothing. I see the budget. I know we can't give you more. I wish we could. But I see you on storms and everything. You're there 24 hours. You've been here when disasters have happened without sleeping, very tired. You deserve a lot more, Jeremy. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
And I have to say, to top on that, you guys have been doing an outstanding job. Highway's been stepping up, and under your supervision, they've been shining. You guys are rock stars of our town, and you're doing good. Thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
You good?
I'm good.
I'm good, sir.
Jim?
All
You're
right,
good.
awesome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
guys.
Jeremy.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to echo that. They have a great crew down there. We've had a recent couple of things that have happened with some of our apparatus. Went down there, these guys have been right there to help bring their meters down, check batteries, look at stuff. So it's not just the highway department, they do a fantastic job. They got some great people. They come right down to the station if we need something to look at. If they got a mechanic that can check something out that we can't. So I mean, we work together very well. I think that's to be noted, and he does have a great crew, so.
And that's the whole town. Our town is working together cohesively and helping in every department, and everybody's just working so much together. I'm so proud of this town.
Yep.
And
They showed up for a simple question, 20 minutes later, they had a crew with a
Yeah.
truck down there going through, diagnosing things that
It's
they
great
didn't
to
even
see.
ask them to do, they just came down, you know, so it's a good crew.
Speaking of that, since you guys are here, you had a question about radios, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I
Before
didn't know
you
if was that
disappear.
a new business thing or, I don't know.
Well, it's your budget.
Oh, my budget. Oh, yeah, so we were talking radios. I know you guys are big in trying to do the new radio system. Does highway or, you know, potentially DPW, eventually whatever, tie into that system, or are we kind of
So-
on the outside?
So right now, no, highway is not, to be honest, highway is not part of that infrastructure right now. I didn't know that, I didn't know how, if you guys would need that kind of a system. I mean, this is a triangulated system for all you know, for
Yeah.
basically, what we're trying to do is operate on portable radios, not just
Okay.
mobile. We're trying to get
Yeah.
pinpointed to portables. Not to say that we can't look at that down the road, but
Okay.
the factors and the equations that have been factored right now are specifically for fire and police. However,
You still have
I
the
would-
capability to switch over.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
run on both of your channels. So if
exactly.
I need to reach, that's the
Right.
thing is, a lot of times I can communicate with both of you.
Right.
But I can't communicate with my own people
Yeah.
because they're on the other side of a hill. And our repeater is small and tiny and under yours.
So-
It doesn't-
We can have those discussions coming down the road. You know, we hadn't actually had a formal conversation about that, so
Yeah.
that wasn't something we talked about, but I see no reason that we can't have those conversations in the future. You know, once we get the infrastructure up and running, it's as simple as adding a second repeater, you know?
That's
So, I mean,
was
it's
my
not to say
question.
that that can't happen, and I know again that, you know, Rutland is seeking some grants right now for some other things, so, you know, we can certainly see where that would play out. But,
Okay.
you know, in the future, if we build this three-site station, which it looks like we are going to do, you know, that would serve everybody at the same time with just some added equipment, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Good.
No, that's good, yeah.
Very good.
I'd say use my old stuff, but it's probably, it's.
Yeah.
I'd say-
we
I'd
don't
say-
want
That's about it. Tie a rope to it, you
We-
can drag it around.
I will say that we are keeping our, you know, you are the same site that we are
Yes,
currently right
yes.
now, which is on private property. We are keeping our site, or the plan is to keep our site there as a backup. God forbid we were to lose
Okay.
the new site, you know, we'd at least have something. So there's a chance of improving that equipment that may help you guys a little bit if you were to take over the
Yeah.
blocks and make a different repeater, or there could be some improvements at the current site, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
If our equipment goes offline and stays dormant while the new system goes up. So
Okay.
we could look at an option there too.
All right, good, very good.
Yeah, if you guys can work that out amongst each other and just.
Yeah, no, I just
Just keep
wanted
him
to
on
know
board
if,
with it too.
obviously, I didn't anticipate there'd be something right away, but it was more the idea of expanding is, you know, is it something eventually we could tie into?
Yeah.
Especially as our department becomes larger, you know,
Especially
and more
storms.
spread out all over town. We're constantly dealing with storms and communications. I know I have plow trucks that run over, as soon as they go over the mountain. If they don't have their cell phone and their cell phone doesn't have service, we have no communication.
There's
with
also
them.
a couple other options, and I'm not a radio technician by any means, I know some basic stuff about it, but, you know, your trucks are inherently different than ours. You know, ours aren't out as long as yours are for
Mhm.
prolonged events and stuff. They have such things as a mobile repeater that can be put in a vehicle.
Mhm.
So, you know, so when they're out at a remote location, you know, that there are a couple options where, you know, some of the areas are dead areas. A repeater could be put in a truck, you know, designated to that area that would help with those things. So there, we can certainly have that conversation offline.
All right, thank you.
Cool.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So, sewer department budget.
I don't see Lisa.
No,
Yep.
no.
Is she
didn't
coming?
come. No,
Okay.
didn't pay her to come.
Really?
So she basically,
It's killing me.
Okay.
she talked to me about her budget and, she says she doesn't know anything, she doesn't know how to explain it, so the only change there is they had multiplied hers by 52.2, so Madeline caught that and brought it down, so that's the handwritten part of the budget.
No, she's 52. Do we have any word on Devon and when he's starting?
We do not. Jim, didn't she say something about the new person? They're waiting for his
Physical to come through back.
It's been like weeks.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a final, the last I heard, Tammy has not gotten a final notification on that as of yet.
Okay. I mean, we've been able to get.
But she's out right now, and they were way
Yeah.
backed up the last time I talked to Tammy.
Okay,
I mean, way backed up.
all right. I mean, we need another person there, especially right now.
She told us today that David Gray has one more doctor visit and could possibly be coming back at the end of the month.
6 o'clock is late.
Yeah, there was.
End of the month, okay. Gonna leave Zach and that plan alone for a long time.
So hopefully next week we'll have the other guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's 5 minutes before 6.
And I'm told that the chief operator's position is posted on our website.
Yeah.
I asked her if she was gonna do it on Indeed, and she wasn't sure if she knew how to do that.
Yeah, I think.
We'll get it on, if we can get the information, is everything on the website? that-
It is.
Yeah, you could pull it off the website.
I'll pull it off the website and I'll throw it on Indeed,
Yeah,
and then we'll get that posted.
we could do
We
it.
need to reach out for as many people as we can, for that position. Cause I know Zach doesn't exactly want it. He feels like he needs some more experience.
So I don't know that we've had any luck with MMA in the past in terms of advertising, so I don't know if we want to try it again.
I don't remember,
I think everything has
did
come from
anything come from
Indeed.
MA?
Not this last time, the time before, I think we got
Everything was
3 or
Indeed,
4.
right?
Yeah, everything was Indeed.
But mostly
But,
Indeed.
yeah, we got 3 or 4 off of that, the 2 times we did town administrator.
Okay. And I think there was like a wastewater association, is that right?
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah, there
That
is.
they can tap
Yeah.
into maybe to do some,
Mhm.
to do an ad, so.
Mhm.
Well, we're probably gonna have to do that ad for them.
Right.
Yeah, I can talk to Lisa, so I think they have a meeting next week, I'll be at that meeting.
I'm not sure, there may be cost associated with posting those.
Yeah, if we could check it so we
Yeah.
can get it out there as many
Alright.
places as we can.
So-
Try to get the best possible applicants we can, because we can't, that department cannot keep on running like it is. They need to have people there. And by constantly doing this, we're putting the town in a bad position because DEP and the EPA fine us for this stuff. And they've warned us in the past, we had a $70,000 fine hanging over our heads for a little while when we had to negotiate it to what, a $7,000 fine,
Something like that, yeah.
which we had to pay. But it could have been a $70,000 fine for something that could have been prevented with that department. And we're just going down the same road again, and it's constantly chasing this.
Yeah. it
And
just
chasing,
doesn't stop.
constantly having this. And we can't keep on doing it. It's hurting the town by doing that.
That that $70,000 fine is our chief operator right there. If we have a
That's
chief
one,
operator.
yeah.
So we either can pay DEP or we can pay somebody to run.
Well, it's
it.
not just the $70,000 fine. That's the first offense.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
That's, you know,
Builds from
it's the
there.
$210,000 fine that was following up if we
Right.
didn't get it fixed.
Yeah.
And then the additional on top of that the next time.
Yeah, I know.
Which we keep on having the same problem over and over and over, and DEP's patience is wearing thin with us. You know, we can only beg for forgiveness so many times.
It's just completely dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And I don't know why anybody can't show up tonight. You know, it's their budget, right?
It's their budget, yeah.
Come and defend your budget. Tell us about it. It's disappointing.
Well, we gotta do something with their budget. Are you guys willing to go with what we have right in front of us?
Yeah, I mean, what, you know,
And, yeah, I would've liked to, the salary, I assume, is because they're upping the chief operator's position salary.
well, but is this a good salary for a chief operator? If we find somebody with 10 years' experience, is this gonna cut it? I mean, I think Sean was making.
That's what was recommended, I believe, by,
All right,
their engineer.
okay,
Who's their engineer again?
Ty and bond.
Iron Bond.
yeah,
So they were doing, their evaluation on their pay, and they made recommendations on what it would be.
okay.
And again, it's one of those positions, we're kinda stuck because it's a unique position, because not many people have these licenses or these, you know, certifications to do this. And, you know, I can tell you right now, if anybody's looking for a career path, get operators licenses in the sewer department, because they're like gold right now. Every town's looking for these chief operators and operators to run their sewer departments. It's one thing every town has is a sewer department, but nobody puts in for those jobs and gets those licenses. That's $75,000 to work as a chief operator for a sewer department. Takes some experience, but you get the licenses, you could be doing all right for yourself.
Yep. Yeah.
So. Yeah, and that's something else we were proposing to them, is starting some sort of training program so they can have people in the queue. So these younger guys that come on, as people leave and retire, these younger guys can take over and step into those higher paying positions, and be able to run the department, and then they could start training people to follow suit underneath them. You know, we can't constantly chase the dragon on this.
So
Do you have any questions about the budget?
Salaries. So it looks like salary goes up and indirect costs,
Yeah.
which I forgot. Sean said what that was and I don't remember, but.
Well, everything's going up inside there, because again, with all the costs for fuel, some of the chlorine,
Yeah, they're.
all these things that they utilize, the chlorine gases that they use inside there, all that stuff's going up with the cost of everything else. So,
That's 30% increase.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I know this is not under our purview or your purview, but, you know, recommendation on something like this, you know, we'll have to do an analysis at some point, or the sewer commission would have to do an analysis at some point to look at their habits of raising their revenues and also dipping into their retained earnings in order to balance their budget, so. You know, it seems as though they have a pattern of dipping into their retained earnings to balance their budget, so that's alarming.
Yeah.
Because the retained earnings should be like the rainy day fund
Correct.
or go to
Yeah.
capital.
Something happens,
Right.
you know.
So that 197, right? That's.
Right.
So that would pay for the grits group if they
Sure.
didn't have to use it for their budget, right?
Sure.
And that's the thing,
So right there.
they're not doing a good job of balancing their books and making sure that they're prepared for future events. They're kind of wait and see what happens. And this gotta be fixed.
Yeah.
And your department's probably gonna get a whole lot bigger someday.
Yeah, I can believe it. Wow.
Mr. Chairman, are they waiting on a physical for one of the employees, is that correct?
Yes.
Does the town, and I know police and fire, does everybody use the same system when they send employees? So can I make a suggestion that maybe we look at another option, because it sounds to me like we are, I know that I've had 2 employees that on the call side of things, the call fire department side, it took me 3 months to get them physical dates to be able to even get in and do it, so
Yeah, we can.
there's gotta be
That's
other
crazy.
occupational health, you know, options
Yeah.
out there that would allow us to streamline getting employees through the system more, because, I mean, especially a position like
Yeah.
you're talking about right now cannot wait 3 months to be filled because they can't get a physical.
No.
So I know that Harrington does them, I know that, yeah, I mean, that might be something we could look into. I know they hadn't been doing pulmonary function tests for us because of COVID, but I'm sure that's probably changing soon, but that's just unique to us. I don't think all the other departments may.
You know, you gotta wear SCBA's
But,
and
yeah,
stuff,
but
so.
I mean, I think the town should probably look at a different occupational health option so that we
Mhm.
aren't getting jammed in the mud. It sounds like all of us are experiencing the same problem with putting people through a physical.
You,
Yeah.
we're on it. Thank you, chief.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
And with Devon, can we just bring him in contingent on him passing?
No.
No.
For God's
No.
sakes, really?
That's half the problem, you have to
Yeah,
wait for all the
because if
paperwork.
anything happens to him, insurance,
Insurance liability.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. Because if he has a pre-existing condition before he enters in, and
Yeah,
we own it at that point.
okay.
I was talking to someone at Sturbridge that they use Harrington, and they haven't seen to have any backup really whatsoever there, but for some reason, we can't, it sounds like they downsized the department that we got ours through, and you're waiting 2-3 months to even get a date for, get somebody in there, and that's just crazy now.
I know I'm one of the newest hires, it took a while for me to get, I had to go all the way up to Amherst or
That's what we do with
Greenfield.
them, yeah, they
Yeah,
go to
that's where we
Amherst.
do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you, because we gotta get him in there, because
Mhm, okay.
Zach is the only person there, and
Yeah.
it's not a good situation.
Mhm.
Maybe there's a doctor in town.
Yeah, I mean, what does it
Doing
require?
pro bono.
Just a doctor to do a physical? I mean, does it,
It's a full physical, yeah.
so it's not.
Well, with the
rocket
fire,
Yeah,
it's
fire and
different
police
because then
have a
they
little
gotta
bit
do
different
the.
Yeah,
stuff
there's-
there,
yeah.
but I mean, generally speaking, it's the same with a couple of add-ons, but, you know, it doesn't sound like they're processing anybody in a timely manner,
No.
regardless of what their requirements are.
And maybe because of COVID, you know, a lot of these places are backed up. But it's a full physical along with drug screening as well.
And if he had a recent physical from his own physician?
No,
No.
it's all
Third
part
party
of,
independent?
all
Yeah.
part of the package. yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Who provides that or who pays for that?
That would be the town.
It's all about
The town
liability.
pays for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's the other problem too, is the current company we're using, they're terrible with billing. I still haven't even got, the employees I put in months ago, I haven't even got a bill on. I've called them 3 times, and they keep sending it to wrong places or whatever. It's, you know, that happened last year too, where I had to you know, encumber a couple of things for physicals I had done 6 months before that, because I still hadn't got the bills in. So there's definitely a backlog with what we're using right now, unfortunately.
yeah, we gotta definitely look at someplace else to go.
I have used Harrington in the past.
Okay.
Happy with them? Did you?
They were, I think it was Garrett was able to get he was going to the academy, and we needed a appointment quick.
Mm.
And at AEIOU, we couldn't get one, and we used Harrington.
Okay.
How quick were you able to get one with them?
He got one in a week.
Yeah, that's,
Reach out to Harrington,
Okay.
see if we can do that.
I mean, the other issue.
They're also
If Devon gets.
somewhat closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Devon finds another job in the meantime, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he may be
we
like,
wasted all this
"Screw
time
Yeah.
keeping them in the queue, and we didn't have anybody working.
Right. He's
And in
like,
the meantime, we're getting fined $70,000,
Yeah.
because, not yet, but
Right, yeah.
God forbid.
All right.
All right, so back to their budget. You don't have any questions?
Yeah.
Do you?
No. I mean, I'm
Eric?
fine.
I feel clueless, 'cause they're not here.
Yeah, it's nice to have them. But anyways, huh?
I don't think Lisa could have answered any of your questions anyway.
Probably not. I mean, I think Sean did this probably, so.
He did.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Jim?
Just the comments I made before, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they definitely need to start working better on that department and fix their problems.
Mhm.
If not, we're gonna move in the right direction anyways.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, Historical Society, they get an up request, want 5,000 instead of 2,500.
So,
Jim talked to him.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Chairman, earlier this afternoon, Ms. Buck, the chairperson of the Historical Commission, called the office explaining the situation. She's apologizing that she couldn't make it here this evening because of she had some recent surgery. She was going to try to send a representative, but was not sure if that person was going to be able to make it here. She's asking for an additional $2,500 for a project in which she wants to do some preservation work and continue the preservation work for the gravestones at one of the cemeteries in South Warren Cemetery. The gravestone preservation work is costing some additional funds. She'd like to expand to continue that work, and she feels as though an additional $2,500 would make a huge impact on the already existing project of preserving some of the gravestones at that cemetery.
Okay. We definitely want to preserve our history. Questions?
I don't think so. I don't have a problem with it.
Any questions?
I'm good, sir.
All right, I'm good with it. Yeah. Again, preserving our history, it's a must. We gotta make sure that we don't lose this part of our town. So,
So they have a line item in the budget, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
all right. Did you have anything else in the,
No, that would be it.
Okay. Okay, the approval and authorization for FY21 Warren Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. Let's move to the next meeting. And then, gonna do some motions now. You wanna do motions?
Sure. I'll make a motion to appoint the following people to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee.
Nope.
Oop, what?
Well, your wife's on that.
Oh, sure, okay. Should I recuse?
Um,
Well, you could do
It's up to
everything
you.
except her.
I can do, yeah,
Okay.
I can do a motion for her, do everybody but her.
Okay, so I'll continue okay, so motion to appoint the following people to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee. Sue Ramsey, Lisa Boucher, Tim O'Brien, and Steve Crystal.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. I also follow up that motion with a motion to appoint Joyce Ihacker to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee.
Second,
All in favor?
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. Motion passes. So, warrants and bills. That guy Bill again.
Bailey.
All right, I'll make a motion to pay the following warrants and bills. Warrants, number 81 payroll for $40,786.65. Number 82 vendor for $99,832.72. Number 83 payroll, $48,647.96. Number 84 vendor, $702,071.76. The following bills, 2 for KP Law, $2,782.21, $2,641. Marlin, the Marlin Capital one, we're gonna skip because there's a really big charge on there that I don't understand.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to look into that. So we're skipping that one. Easy True Value, $7.78 and $20.26. Verizon for $133.85. Modern for $92. National Grid streetlight account, a credit of $19,509.51. WB Mason, $153.39, $306.54, $23.33. Workhorse for $1,500. Northeast IT,
Just the top one's the gym,
yeah, okay, the first two are Wi-Fi in the gym, right?
the first one.
The first one, $1,165, and the Northeast IT for $45, and Northeast IT, I think this is their monthly, $2,223. Google for $82.64. New Systems Associates, $3,787.92.
That's a steel door in the
Okay,
boiler room.
that was a steel door.
Oh, is that
It looks
installed
good.
and everything?
Yeah,
Oh, cool, okay. Warren Water District, $103. Community Development Advisory Committee, $1,070.08.
Second,
all in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion is passed unanimously. Okay. So no minutes this week. Now, on to the nitty-gritty. Town Administrator Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have some articles that I just wanted to pass out to the members. I think you have a copy of this one. Thank you. So good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I kind of wanted to discuss in my report this evening to the board kind of a historical analysis that I prepared this evening on free cash. Having taken a look at the last 5 years as an analysis for moving forward. And this is just an analysis that can be used for budgetary purposes for you guys when you make your decisions on free cash. Simply as some perspectives and some historical background. The first thing that you will have in front of you is just a memo. And as you can see, the town currently has $955,359 available in free cash. Kind of a historic year for the town in certified free cash. You started out the year with like a little over 1.3 million, okay? You've spent about $427,000 of that, which gives you the balance of the 955, which is left. Fiscal year 2021 has proven to be in which the town has enjoyed an unprecedented amount of free cash. Some of the contributing factors as to why fiscal year 21 free cash was so high is I kind of went back into the closeout of fiscal year 21. And I saw that there was a lot of surpluses across departments in salary and line wages, along with, coupled with maybe there was some infusion in some federal stimulus dollars that was recognized by the town during that period as well. Prior to fiscal year 2021, the 4-year average for free cash that the town has had was a little over $400,000. So that was like the 4-year average If you take out 2021 as being kind of like a historical year that normally doesn't occur, your 4-year average is about a little over $400,000. Typically, the town has in certified free cash could be anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000. And just to clarify, any unspent free cash as of June 30th of the fiscal year will be rolled over into next year's free cash calculation when it's certified. So theoretically, the free cash goes back to 0 on July 1, but you recapture that free cash when your next year's free cash is certified. So that calculation will be added back in when the accountant gets the free cash certified. Typically, that happens in the fall. The Department of Revenue has issued a bulletin on free cash, which is attached to the memo that I had sent to everybody. And it kind of explains the definition of free cash. It kind of goes through, how free cash is certified. And then it goes into a recommendation. And the recommendation from the Department of Revenue is that towns should be reserving 3 to 5% of their free cash, 3 to 5% of their budget for free cash, having it available at any given time. So that could be for an unforeseen expense, that could be for an emergency that the town has that has come up. It's always easy and always efficient to get access to free cash. It's not, you don't have to go out and borrow or try to get a state house note. Free cash is always easy to solve any problem that a town may have at a quick period of time. With the rapid rate of inflation and the possibility of an unforeseen expense, I would simply advise the Board of Selectmen, should they choose to set aside approximately $500,000 of its free cash this year. By doing this, the town would be following the recommendation of the DOR. This would allow the town to continue to invest $455,000 on capital improvement projects moving forward. The town has already spent approximately $429,000 in free cash this year, making it the highest investment in town capital is seen in 5 years, probably the highest investment for over 20 years. So you've spent probably over about $800,000 of free cash in capital investments, investing back into either the building or into vehicles or into capital needs within the town. Historically, that's a historic number. Also during that time period, you'll see on another memo that I have here, I was able to meet with Carrie Schmidt, our collector of taxes, and to kind of gauge and go over where we are on our collection rate over the last 5 years. Fiscal year 21, we had a 92% collection rate. It's pretty good, 92% during COVID, and I think the taxpayers owe a great thank you to that for making that contribution in those very tough times. So you have 92% collection rate in fiscal year 21. Fiscal year 2020, you had an 87% collection rate. Fiscal year 2019, you had a 90% collection rate. Fiscal year 2018, you had a 91% collection rate. In fiscal year 2017, you had a 92% collection rate. Out of that 5-year average, you have about a 90% collection rate in taxes. So we capture that on our recapitulation form, which I provided to you for fiscal year 2022, which kind of helps us to identify where our levy ceiling is as well. So your levy ceiling is at about 11.2. You have a total estimated receipts and other revenue sources of about $4 million, and then you have the tax levy at a little over $7 million. Those are all numbers that help us understand the budget, how we budget for a town, how the budget grows. And down below on the memo, you'll see your 5-year free cash numbers. So fiscal year '21, you have 1.3 million, which you've already spent 427,000. Fiscal year '20, you had about $242,000 worth of free cash, and you spent 242,000 of that, almost clearing that out to about $300 left. Fiscal year '19, you had about 513,000. Actually spent was 383. Fiscal year '18, you had 493,000 worth of free cash. You spent 462. In fiscal year '17, you had 383,000. You spent 342,000 worth of the free cash. So it kind of gives you a perspective as to the meaning of free cash, where the town is on its free cash. It kind of gives you an idea as to what the recommendations from the DOR is. So if you say on round numbers, our budget's $10 million. If you put 5%, that's $500,000. That's a recommendation that the DOR says that you should be at for free cash. And you don't lose free cash. You'll capture it when next year's free cash is certified. So these are just recommendations that I wanted to do analysis for the board so that the board can make their decision as they move forward. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Okay, if our total levy is about 7.2 million,
Right.
is that correct?
Tax levy, yep.
But our budget is 10?
No, the tax levy is what you, the actual, the amount to be raised is what you're looking at is the first number right there. That's what you can raise up to, 11.2 million.
Yeah, at the top,
Yep.
okay. But I'm saying, we're bringing in 7.2 right now, according to this?
That's what you're bringing in. That's the budget.
So, but that's 3 million less than our $10 million budget.
Right, so you have $4 million worth of estimated receipts. So that doesn't include motor vehicle excise tax,
Oh, okay.
doesn't include penalties and interest on taxes and excise, doesn't include, if you look at the page 3 of the recapitulation form, you'll see the $4 million broken down. You'll see 2 categories: actual receipts of 2021, estimated receipts of fiscal year 2022. They were conservative, which is good. So that's how we're basing that figure. So the actual was 596, estimated for this year's 600,000, which is conservative.
Wow, 600,000 from vehicle excise.
Yeah, people are buying vehicles.
That's why it's important to make sure that they register for our town
Yeah.
and not in another town, because then we get the excise taxes for our community,
Yeah,
not a surrounding town.
right. Are we able to somehow correct that or catch it if that happens? Because you need the garage address, not the mailing address, right?
Well, I know with my address, when I first moved into town, because I have a West Brookfield mailing address.
Right.
When you do your driver's license, you have to identify your residential address is in Warren, but
Okay.
your mailing is at the other town.
Yeah.
Because I live
Yeah.
right over on the other side, and, West Brookfield is how I get to my house. My mailbox is in West Brookfield.
Right.
So, when you do that, when I first got taxed, it was to West Brookfield.
Oh, your
Because
registration?
because they go by your driver's license and how you registered it.
Right.
So you gotta make sure when you do your driver's license and you do it, that the actual address for the residence is Warren. Mailing could be different, but your residence has to be for Warren.
Yeah, okay.
I actually had to pay 2 tax bills that year,
Oh.
because when I got it fixed, I got dinged again by Warren,
Yeah.
because it was just right at that time. And they're like,
Can I just raise my hand here and say,
no.
that was, I just.
How you doing?
Lindsay, that whole thing is a huge pain in the butt for everybody involved.
Yes.
Residents, the tax collectors in both towns, the assessor's offices in both towns. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's a pain. But you should have gotten an abatement from West, you should have gotten an abatement from West Brookfield that year.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay.
It wasn't that much.
No, it's not usually. So. All right, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was Carrie Schmidt, tax collector.
Yes, that was our tax collector.
Sorry, Carrie Schmidt, tax collector.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Carrie.
And her husband in the background, sorry.
Hi, husband. See, even when we don't see the tax man's watching us.
Yeah, that's right.
Or woman.
Yep.
Well, I'm on too, so, you know, I have eyes everywhere.
That's true. Do you have any questions,
No, I don't think so.
Derek?
It's pretty interesting.
Well, Jim, for one moment, I thought I was back at school with a master degree class of economics. This is such a good information. I appreciate it. Think you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Even I don't understand half of it, but, you know, what you're telling us here is very important. And it should be for all residents in town too.
And I have to say, it's very impressive to have a 92% rating for tax collection within a community. Because,
Yeah.
as you're saying, like, we're only behind by 8%. You know, it's not too bad.
I mean, does
communities.
anybody get 100%? I mean, it's probably really hard, right?
It's very dangerous if you're a community and you're budgeting at 100% tax collection ratios, because
Yeah.
your budgets are gonna be way off. And it's pretty nice, and Carrie does a great job with, with her department, and she's very aggressive, but 92%, that's a lot to say thank you to the taxpayers.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
very good. All right. So, with that said, there's a lot of departments requesting things. And,
Oh, and free cash.
in free cash this year. And we gotta really kinda look at that and sit down and kinda
Trim back a little, huh?
trim back and see what we can do and what we can't do. Because the last thing we wanna do is spend all our free cash in one lump sum. Cause then we have no rainy check, nothing to fall back on. So we gotta look at where we can trim and what are the essentials to get, for this meeting. And it doesn't mean that we're not gonna get everything, it just, we might not get everything for this town meeting. We might have to wait till our special in the fall to finish it up and tie up some loose ends. So we're gonna have to kinda, as Mr. Nason says, sharpen our pencils a little bit and look at what we can actually kinda budget for and put out there, because, you know, we can't spend it all. But, that's another meeting we're gonna have to have. And I'm sure we can talk about that on tomorrow night.
Well, we do have under our old business, so,
But that's a whole specific section
yeah.
on that we're getting too specific. Um, So, all right. Do you have no more questions?
No,
Any questions?
No, so, just to add into my report this evening to the board, I do want to let the board be made aware of the fact that Representative Smola came in to the office today, gave us kind of a little bit of a update on some issues at the State House. Kind of opened up our levels of communication, which they've always been good, but I'm new here, so, as communicating and working with him in his office, we talked about some State House issues, and some issues possibly working down in the future on future earmarks and trying to come up with plans and different things for the town. So he's all on board, and we're gonna have a great relationship with him.
As always, Todd's always been great to our community. He's a member of our community, and, the residents love him, we love him. He's been a good guy. He's always looked out for us, and we really appreciate his leadership and guidance in our community. And, when we're talking about some of the things we'd like to do with some of the projects in town. And, he looks like he might be able to help us in the future with some of that. So, it's great to have, great resource. Anytime we could do it with somebody else's credit card. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Jim?
Nope.
Very good, thank you very much. Okay. So, new business. So, do you have any new business?
No, sir.
The only new business we have is today, Jim and I were in the office, and an older couple came in the office to talk to us. The woman fell last night on some stairs in the center of town, because they're having some issues with those stairs. We went down there and looked at them, and the stairs coming out of the Warren Market and Glenda's and stuff, they're getting a little worn there, and we're probably gonna have to look at doing something with those here in the near future, to avoid any type of accidents. We noticed the metal rails are coming up, and a lot of the concrete is actually starting to degrade on that. So we're gonna have to look at what we need to do to help that. So, but, that's something for the near future that we're gonna have to look at. What else? I don't think was there anything else, Karen? No? No, we did the science fair today. So, Mr. Valise and I helped judge at the high school for the science fair. A lot of the students, very good projects. We have very smart kids in our town. Some of those projects I was in awe about. We definitely have some future scientists and engineers in our town, and I know the engineers and architects kind of touch a little bit in your heart over there. I seen you conversing for quite a long time with some of those bridge projects that they were doing, and it was just really good to be a part of that. And I thank the school for inviting us, and anytime we can do something like that, it's a great pleasure to do. And I don't know who won, but I'm sure whoever did was very talented, and the competition was tough down there. I know when I was judging them, I was like, oh my God. You know, trying to give the best rating on what they presented, and it was just really close between them all. So, good job with the high school. So, I think that's all I have for new business.
Okay,
No good?
nothing.
Nothing? Jim? Guys got any new business? All right. Old business. Free cash. Going through the breakdown. I don't think we're ready for a motion to spend the free cash on items because we still gotta kinda look at them and what we gotta do. So we gotta kinda brainstorm on that. And I don't know if that's something we can do tomorrow night with FinCom, because that's when we'll kinda be looking over all this stuff. Because that will give us better opportunity to really kind of pinpoint what's in the budget and what's being spent. What do you think, Jim?
Well, you have some warrant articles that would need to be looked at and would need to be adjusted if the board was, wanted to do so. You may want to check with some of these departments and, get some of their feedback on if some of these articles were to be removed.
When do we have to have the articles done?
Sooner rather-
Yesterday?
Well, no, but we need to get them printed, and that's where our problem's going to be, is getting them back from printing. And I know Madeline was hoping that we could get the articles all done when we approved the omnibus, so that we could get it out the door. So she's hoping tomorrow night.
Maybe we should do an initial pass-through right now, and then do more expanded discussion tomorrow.
Like, we could. The problem with that is a lot of the departments aren't represented. We have the big money
Yeah.
is here. Yeah. The one guy in the middle that's asking for 50,000 between the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Equipment's expensive.
Yeah, and you guys, stop playing with such expensive toys. These things, can't you find cheaper loaders?
They're shiny and red.
Really? Why do fire trucks have to cost so much money?
I did talk to Jim. We sat down for another reason the other day, and he did mention that, I mean, one of the bigger expenses we have is the $250,000 installment for the engine one replacement. The only thing I'll say about that, I said the same thing to Jim, is that, again, I try to plan those out over years, as opposed to I'm not asking for a truck for this meeting, I'm asking for an installment for a truck 3 years from now. So if you cut out of that, right, as I said to him, that's the board's purview, but we will have to make that up in the next Maytown meeting and then the next Maytown meeting. So you're kind of robbing Peter to pay
So
Paul,
instead
so
of
to
looking
speak.
for 250,000, in May,
Exactly.
you're gonna
So,
be
I
looking
mean,
for 500.
A dump truck may be $250,000 that you need, but $250,000 is just 1/3 of what I need for a fire truck. So, again, if you push that off, you're just creating a backfall for the next meeting. That's the only thing I would say about that. Obviously, we'd have to make that adjustment down the road if you were to pull 50,000 from that or something to capture some money back, but we'd end up having to figure it out down the road one way or the other. And the only other thing I would say about the other project we have, the $75,000, that's also an installment project, that's a 2-year project. And we need to get that done because our air packs actually expire in 2025. So we actually can't legally use them and safely use them because they're out of hydro function date on that. So there is a time restraint on that. I planned ahead, so we had a year window on that, and it's much less expensive project. It's roughly a $150,000 project. So, I guess, those would be the only things I would say going down the road, is that it's not equipment I'm asking for this year, it's equipment that we're planning out over several years.
So what do we have that we can, because
Well, I
you can't
can-
really cut your dump truck out of there because,
The only option I see as far, and again, I mean, I absolutely understand where Adam's coming from in the sense it's such a large ticket item. If you take any percentage away from your installments, you're really adding such a huge burden on the next meeting, the following year. As far as equipment for the highway department, obviously, we haven't purchased a new a large dump truck in 22 years. So every dump truck we've gotten since the last new one we bought 22 years ago was somebody else's worn out dump truck. And we've gotten a few of them along the way. And recently we got probably the best one we've ever gotten. I worked a deal with the state to get a DCR truck, which is pretty much almost online and ready to join our fleet. We've had to go through and do some extensive rehab to it just because we were able to purchase the truck at such a high discount rate due to, making good connections and begging a lot, and it worked out for us. But ultimately, even with this truck, we find every time we drive it around the garage to try and get some more bugs out of it, another $1,000 worth of repairs comes out of it. So again, it's still a 13-year-old dump truck, not a new one. Could we possibly take a percentage? We'll do a capital plan, maybe I say we'll put half the money aside for a new dump truck, and then next year or in the fall, whatever, maybe we can generate the other half. I would rather that than nothing.
Yeah.
That's responsible, I guess. We obviously make do with what we have. Again, we have a great mechanic right now, so he's really good at kind of piecing our old junk back together. So if that would be the responsible move, then of course, I have to do what's best for our department, but I also have to do what's best for our town. And putting that burden on the town, if it's irresponsible, then I'm obviously not making the right decision. So if the capital plan and maybe, $150,000 instead of $250,000 or $125,000 goes towards the truck now as an installment, and then next year or in the fall, whatever, we could do the other half, and hopefully the prices haven't gone too much higher, because the increase in price just in the last year it's a $250,000 truck that was $200,000 about a year and a half ago. So, and on top of that, I priced 5 different trucks, 5 different manufacturers, and the soonest I could get one, if we ordered it the day after the town meeting, would be a year from now. So
That's the other problem.
that's
we're
the
facing.
newest, and there was 2 out of the 5 that I approached wouldn't even give me a price or allow me to think about placing an order, because they're 2+ years out in production. So they won't take our order even if I wanted that make, because they can't tell us when it'll ever be made. So, and that's the reality of large equipment right now. You cannot get it.
He's
If you had
100%
cash,
right.
it doesn't matter. You're still a year and a half, a year from now before you could, even with cash in hand. So again, with that state of mind, maybe let's hope a year or 2 from now, the ordering process, the build process will tighten up. And when the funding does come through for the truck, we could maybe have it within 6 months instead of a year and a half. So with that in mind, again, the capital plan, putting half now, half later, that might work.
okay.
So,
Do we have the articles that we can just?
Very good. Under old business,
Old business? These are the most current ones?
yes. And I just printed out the ones that had to do with free cash.
Is this sheet on the network?
No.
Can I get access to it?
Oh, yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet that's made up.
Is it on the network though? If I go to,
I don't know.
you
So-
save it in a central spot?
I don't know if I just say, I don't know where I save it to.
Could you email it to me?
Yeah, you want me to go do that?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the other thing that puts us behind, just to piggyback it, Jeremy's 100% right with the prices that's out there with chassis and stuff. The other thing that puts us also behind is because we can't walk into a dealership and buy a vehicle. That's not what we can do. We have to go under procurement bids and everything. So the few chassis they have, the few trucks that they are out there, I mean, there really isn't anything out there right now, but we also have to wait that additional time for all these procurement bids to make up. And by that time, they sold half or more of the chassis in the private sector, you know, and then unfortunately, by having to play by those rules that municipalities have to play with, it also, this unprecedented crisis with these trucks and the delivery dates has actually compounded twice just because of what municipalities have to deal with too. So, I mean, any salesman out there right now will tell you they've never seen this. In the 30-plus years they've done it, they've never seen it. They're seeing delivery times of 600 to 800 days, if not more. It's just crazy.
So, right off the bat, I know it's a small one, but we could pick off, let's take off the AED training.
That's what I was thinking.
So let's get rid of that one.
Which number is that?
STM 11?
11.
11?
We can get rid of that one, because we can probably at some point get a grant or utilize ARPA. If we get a second bout of ARPA, we might be able to use ARPA to just purchase one
Okay.
and use it for that. And then, I'm sure you guys got AED instructors, right?
One of the police officers was gonna teach that particular class.
That's right.
So we got an instructor that can teach that class, and we can potentially fund that in a different way. So that's 3,000 off. Okay, the Bay Path we can't do, we can't take that off. The computer programs, the $50,000 for doing that, that's something we should probably push off until the fall. Because we might actually be able to have the state come in with their program and be able to identify, do an audit on what we need for systems, and then make recommendations on systems that we need. So I would suggest removing that for this meeting also.
STM 14.
14, are you guys good with that?
Yep, I am.
And then the 3,000.
Derek?
So 11 and 14.
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Okay, so let's remove that one.
So I've got it.
Fixing the Shepherd building,
Mhm.
okay, I understand. Jim, what can we do? How much do we really need right now?
Well, we've allocated through a special town meeting 50,000,
Yeah,
and we have a balance probably right now of about $5,000. And I'm gonna finally work with the accounting, get a final count of where exactly we are with that, and then figure out what we wanna do with the balance. And,
so for the upcoming budget, we have 112,500.
yeah,
If we broke that down to 50,000 again, to get us through to the next meeting,
yeah, the
and then we
primary.
identify projects?
Yeah, the projects can be identified, but as you know, the major project is fixing the outside windows, brickwork, masonry, things like that, and that's gonna run around several $100,000 minimum. I've sent you some information on a couple of engineering firms and architects soliciting a layout to let us, to assist us in putting together a scope of work, our RFP and/or RFQ, so that we can define the process to reach out to vendors to get bids. Now, that process would involve hiring an architect or an engineering firm, and I'm getting quotes from them, as, you know, within the next week, I should have some numbers. And I think we should invest that money, if nothing else, so that we found, they're gonna find the cause and cure for the problem and the cost for the problem. And we need to then put it out for bid, but we need to do it properly and very precisely, and that's why I'm suggesting we pay an engineer or an architect to guide us through that process. And I think that would be money well spent, even if we don't address the issue right away because of affordability. We'll know what we have to do to cure the problem and preserve the value of the building. And as you know-
What I'm looking at is the budget right now
Mhm.
that's being proposed for town meeting. We're looking at 112,500. If we drop that down to 50,000 for fixing Shepherd Building offices, that would at least get us through a little bit, and we're not touching so much in our reserves, and it will get us to the fall. And then we could allocate more money as needed to take care of projects. But we really need to kind of chip down all this request for free cash.
Right, I understand that, and I think that's money well spent. And then we can table, without ignoring the needs for the outside of the building and the damage that's being done. I would just really strongly suggest that we fund that cost of an engineer or an architect to get an established process for addressing later on. And I know that's gonna happen right away.
Yeah.
And the money, the 50,000 for the improvements within the offices, we've already identified what needs to be done, and I think that would be money well spent as well. But I would just urge you to try to find some money to pay for the architect. Not to design the cure, just to write the scope of work and the RFQ and the RFP.
Okay.
And that's not gonna be a lot of money, but it's something
No,
that.
but we could take that out of, if we do a $50,000 budget for the Shepherd Building offices and maintenance,
Right.
we could take that out of that.
Okay,
So we'll drop that down from 112,50 to 50,000 then.
Yep, got that. Well, starting from the top, what is the, can we drop the communicable?
We already cut them in half.
Yeah, we already
They
cut
asked
it
for
down.
25,
Okay.
Yeah.
and we already given them 12.
The fire truck, we
Well, we could,
can't touch that.
well, we could maybe take 50 off it, I don't know, what do you?
Then we're gonna have to make it up at the end.
Right.
For the truck, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I mean, certainly you could take some off of there. I based the $250,000 on what I'm looking at the price to be in 3 years for that vehicle. So, again, we will probably have to add to that again, and I was trying to make it even payments for the next few years, is what my goal was with this project.
Depending on how the bond markets are, Mr. Chairman, depending on how our financial position is, there's also another possibility, depending on the market conditions, we may be able to bond.
We did that recently with a piece of equipment
Yeah.
for Jeremy and our ambulance. So
Yeah.
we do have a bond issued
a
for
couple
that,
of
for
them
those
out
two
there.
trucks. So certainly those are possibilities. I mean, we got a good rate on those
Yeah,
two
we
bigger
did.
pieces of equipment, so that's another option to look at. Obviously, if we allocate money, it's less money we have to bond, but that's up to, we're just trying to plan ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we've lacked a capital plan in town for many years now, and I think some of us have just kinda had
Well,
to do
didn't
it
we
on
put a
our own.
bunch of money in capital planning?
200,000,
So we had 200,000 in?
isn't that what we put in?
I thought there was already money in there too from the last capital planning.
We did.
Yeah, we put in a couple $100,000 last time.
Yep, in November.
For what, though? You have to put it into a specific
No,
thing?
just capital improvement plan, we didn't earmark it for anything.
I'd have to look at the warrant article.
Yeah, because usually you have to target a specific thing?
It's usually reserved for a purpose.
Yeah.
In the years past, I believe they just put it into a capital stabilization account.
Okay.
And it hasn't really been earmarked. The only problem we've run into that in the past is that, again, this is why it kind of went down this road, so that money, especially for like fire trucks and bigger equipment like Jeremy has too. What we've seen with the capital stabilization account in the past is that some of the smaller departments that come up way more often with stuff, and by the end of the time, there's no money left when a bigger department with bigger equipment needs it, and that's been,
Right.
so earmarking it is 100% the goal, to make sure it doesn't go anywhere else, because
Right.
it was getting kind of taken back in the day, well, we pull
Yeah.
it from that, it's supposed to go to
But
this. but we
I'm
need
pretty
this.
sure we did last
November.
we put in a couple $100,000 into it.
I want to say that's correct, yes.
Yeah,
I
I
think we
believe
did,
I remember that.
they did fund that for,
Yeah. So let's go through things that we can't touch, or last resort.
Okay, I did take 50 off the engine one, just for, because we still have a lot to make up.
Well, like I said, the dump truck for highway, like I said, if we wanna,
125?
either you can split it in half to 125, and like I said, it at least gets us halfway, or hopefully close to halfway, to that truck in the near future. And that's, at least, as long as I know that that money is there, and it is earmarked for that dump truck replacement, then, you know, I feel a lot more confident going forward that, okay, at least there's, you know, reprieve as far as dealing with some of these really old pieces of equipment that we really have to get away from.
What's the streetlight project in?
That is what Don's proposing to pay down debt for the streetlight project. These were, when they did all the streetlights, added them in. That was basically, was it a loan?
It was a ban.
Yeah, ban. And now we're trying to pay it down, and this is like gonna bring it almost to zero. So we'll be paying that back. Yeah.
Which may not be a bad idea, especially if you're gonna pay down this ban and then maybe use a ban in the future for a project that shows the markets that you know, that we were fiscally responsible with paying it off.
And a ban is again just a loan, as opposed to what's the
The-
difference between a ban and a bond?
A band is a bond anticipation note. You're anticipating that you're gonna pay it off. And a bond is a little bit more complex, it's a little bit for longer term projects. Bands are kind of shorter term, less amount of money.
So if we saved a bunch of money, if we put aside money for a fire truck, then would we do a ban on the balance?
Well, depending on which we would do, the treasurer, I'm sure, would do an analysis of, as to what would be the most advantageous for the town.
So we wanna leave that at 50?
Yeah, we gotta pay it back. We don't wanna be ruining our ability to do it anymore, use it. Police cruiser. Guy's got 180,000 miles on the cruiser.
Yeah, that's gotta stay.
Gotta replace
I
that.
wouldn't recommend taking that
No,
off.
definitely keep that.
That's gonna stay
The
on.
brand new ones already got over 25,000, I think.
Yeah.
20,000.
Stop driving in circles.
They go 24/7.
So we gotta leave that. So we gotta leave the street,
Yeah.
the cruiser, gotta leave the turnout gear, that's gonna be required.
I would, fireworks, I mean, we could do raise and appropriate, right? If people wanna have it, put it,
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
okay.
That's a very popular.
Okay.
That's like the
Very
one
popular.
big town event
I would
everybody
leave that
loves.
just
Yeah.
because of COVID, everyone's
That's-
trying to come out.
Yeah,
That's the
love
morale.
I don't
fireworks.
want that one.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
camaraderie, the morale of the town.
They just might have a big old bonfire with you on top of it. So yeah, let's leave the fireworks. We gotta give the people something.
Yeah, okay.
The new mower, it's a relatively small cost, and we have, our equipment for maintaining parks and cemeteries and common areas is very well-used equipment. I assessed all the equipment that they have within those departments, plus what we already currently have, and, a new replacement, essentially for a couple of their older pieces of equipment, is a must. because we will be just constantly fixing these with the amount of ground that we have to cover. And on top of that, the equipment that they had was more of a lawn tractor. This mower is a high-speed zero-turn.
Commercial.
As far as commercial, everything's much more rugged, solid. It's a lot faster, more efficient. We can cut a lot of time off on maintenance of the grass around town. And then in turn, that extra time would be allowed to do more projects to improve the parks and improve the conditions around the cemetery, because they're not spending endless hours cutting grass.
So, I'm good with that. The snow and ice we have to keep,
Yep.
you gotta pay that,
Yeah.
so.
COA, we gotta keep that, right?
Yeah, what's the expense for?
It was like a shortfall.
No, yeah. You keep that. You gotta keep Pathfinder Regional.
Yeah.
We're cutting down on a lot of things that we can't take money out of there.
So we still need to come up with $200,000.
The SCBA's we have to do, because you're gonna be out of
Yeah.
compliance.
Yeah, we really need to have an installment for that,
Yeah.
because, again, delivery time and stuff, we cannot go over that date of compliance.
Yeah.
Huh?
Huh?
I mean, the 500,000 is advised for getting closer.
Yeah, no, we're cutting down, we're doing better.
I don't mind if they did take the 50,000 to make it a 200,000. I mean, we can address that later. It's not like we're losing the main chunk of it for the fire truck, so I'd be okay with 200,000. I mean, Jeremy's cutting his down as well. I mean, we can live with that and address it maybe with a bond or
So if
something
you
like
do
that.
200,000,
I wouldn't go any lower than that, given I know what the cost of these big guys are.
and then if we cut Jeremy in half,
Yeah, that's what I have.
okay.
So the fire truck at 200, the highway truck at 125.
And with the millionaires moving in town, we'll be able to generate lots of tax revenue from them.
So we could, Jim recommends 5%, but the guidance is 3 to 5.
I'm thinking we're more towards 3.
So we could, I mean, that's basically, so if we set aside 300, then we have a final balance of 1,500, so. It's not the best, but if we wanna do.
So what do we, I'm sorry, I can't see your tiny little numbers
Oh,
over
I
there.
can zoom.
Can you expand that a little bit so
I can.
normal people could see that?
Yeah, look at that. I'll even blow it up.
So we're at how much for spending now? 653?
Well, if we do if we set aside 300,
Yeah.
we can spend 655.
We're
And if
at
we
653.
And we're now spending 653, so we have $1,500 balance.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's been years we've only had 250,000 in free cash or 300,000, so that's a big change right
It
there.
is,
I mean,
what's
it's-
our average, Jim?
408.
Okay.
But that's total, before we spent anything.
No,
right.
that was our balance.
That was your 4-year average if you take out FY '21. So your average was 408,000 out of 4 fiscal years.
That was money spent or money that was retained?
That was just the
free cash
average,
amount.
the free cash amount. If you
Right.
take the average.
Not what we spent.
Not what you spent.
Okay, so.
We spent pretty much all of that
Right,
each time.
so you're actually retaining 300,000.
We're retaining $300,000
If you think of it that way, you're in a
as
much
a
better
rainy check.
position as what normal, that's why I asked,
Yeah.
because, yeah,
But
So for the first time, we're gonna
you're
have
gonna have a 300,000.
$300,000.
Before any certification.
Correct.
Yeah, so
So
this
going
puts us
into
in a
it.
much better place for the fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where if we can make up some of these gaps in the fall, then that's our opportunity, and we might do that.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
I think this is what we can do, yeah,
This is what we can do,
yeah.
and we're at least keeping some in our rainy day, free cash.
And we're putting aside
And
money.
we're still getting projects done, we're still moving forward. We good?
Good, sir. It's a balance, you know.
Yeah.
We are trying to work it as.
And I'm sure FinCom will be a little happier with us.
Mhm. So just to read, so the 200 is a capital account, the 7,500 is a capital account, the 50 is just a payment, the 52 is just a payment, right? You're just gonna buy
Yeah.
something with that. 6 is a payment, 11 is a payment, the mower is a payment, the 125 is a capital fund.
Capital.
Yep.
Okay, and then the rest are payments.
So when we do the warrants, we'll just have to make sure that they're notified as a capital account.
Yes.
For those particular
For those,
items.
Yeah,
Right.
so this way they don't get
That's exactly-
picked on later on, we can, that's
They're on
their
the line
money.
item, Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then when you want to use it, you have to request it at a meeting.
Correct,
Yep.
yes. That's what we had to do last time.
2/3 to pull it out.
Yeah. You know, honestly, the way this is done, the last few times we've done it, it's been successful. Once they make one initial installment, they're not gonna go back on it unless something drastically terrible has happened in town or something. I mean, once they make a commitment, you explain what it's for, it's a capital thing. I've never seen anybody ever balk at those types of things. It's a more responsible way of doing it, so.
Okay. I think we're good. I think we got a plan.
Yeah, looks like it.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
You guys good with it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. I'm happy.
Try to get
So
things
I will
done.
send
Right.
this back to you.
Thank you very much.
Compromise.
Hmm?
He's gonna send it back to me, so I don't have
Oh.
to try to recreate it.
We having computer people around. All right. So we got that done. All right.
Oh, yeah, this is the, yeah, we saw this, right? This is.
The personal protection equipment.
Mm-hmm,
See a letter from Jim?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think the plan was to get whatever we can, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's got the good on that, right? He's going forward with it?
I think so.
Karen?
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, that's what he was told to do, so.
Yep. Very good. Good.
Well, I was saying, we had a conversation when we got stuck in the pandemic, we had nothing. So if, that's from Jim McCune, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we were talking before about getting this stuff and putting it in bins, so we have it for, hopefully never have to use it again. but
That's,
if
yeah, that's
something
what we're
happens,
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got a bunch too, right, Jim?
Yeah, I did speak with Jim, and I suggested he go forward with it. I thought we
Yeah.
communicated that, but that's
Yeah.
happening, yeah.
Do we have a storage area, Jim, big enough for more
We'll
stuff?
find, we have some
I
space,
mean,
and we'll just have to.
I have so much of that stuff at the station, I can't even use my upstairs now, so
Yeah.
is there a central location we can
Well,
move
it's
that to?
possible we could use the old boxing room, because we've capped it off, it's being.
I don't know
dried out
about
now.
using it in there yet.
Pardon me?
Is it dry down there
It's
yet?
not ready yet, no, it's
No.
definitely not ready.
I'm just
but-
wondering if we can maybe centralize one location, because
Yeah.
we're all holding on to so much and we're losing our own usable space, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find a room for it. We've got some space, but ultimately, it'll probably be a couple of months before the boxing area is totally dried out. And we need to do some more cleanup in there too, just cosmetic stuff and then shelving, so.
And as you know, we've been cleaning out so much stuff from the buildings too.
Yeah.
Getting rid of a lot of junk that's just been in here for years.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's creating new office space and opening up areas that we can utilize now for stuff that we're actually using. We could probably go through all the Christmas trees we have here eventually and get rid of, I don't know, a couple hundred of them.
At least.
You know, if anybody wants a Christmas tree in town, contact us, we got plenty of them.
And
But
we
yeah.
have one that's big that everybody goes, it's not mine, it's not mine, it's
Yeah.
not mine. It's brand new in a box.
Oh,
It's in 2 boxes, that's how big it is. But everybody goes, it's not mine.
Nobody wants to move it.
They
Yeah,
might
that's
put it in
big.
the parks this winter or something.
It's in the hallway.
Well, we've got a dumpster up there.
That could happen too.
All right. So,
Don't take a break.
no, okay, yeah, we're almost done anyways. All right, comments and concerns, announce town meeting again. So the town meeting is gonna be on Saturday, May 14th, special town meeting will be at 11:30 a.m. And the annual town meeting will be at 12 o'clock noon. I hope everybody shows up, should be good. We made arrangements, and there's also childcare on site that the school is gonna be providing, correct on that?
I've never heard that, so I
Yes.
don't know. Okay.
So, yeah, they got the childcare going on. I believe Brett informed me about that they would be doing that, so. But we can check and make sure, absolutely, but I'm pretty sure he did pass that on to me. Okay, our next meeting date is April 14th at 4 PM. That is gonna be a dog hearing. We have another dangerous dog hearing. Was it put in as dangerous dog or nuisance dog?
It was just put in as a dog hearing,
Okay.
because you guys have to determine
Yeah.
whether it's dangerous or not.
So we got that, and then at 6 PM is our regular meeting. And with that said, your favorite part?
We're all set?
Unless you have anything, any comments and concerns?
I got one thing, when you say cleaning, I just wanted to mention, Peter Hastings has been helping us when Jimmy was out. And you guys know that, he went upstairs and he found all those old books that we were talking about, sorted them out. He did a great job, and there's actually more up there that other departments gotta come.
Very
see-
good.
Take a look at.
Yeah. And I know gave a bunch of stuff to the American Legion?
Yep, we found some stuff from
From them?
from the old American Legion, and he took it down for them so they
Very
can,
good.
they actually put it on their wall.
Nice.
Yeah, he
And
did a
then
great
anything
job.
we can get over to Sylvia Buck for historical and preservation too.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot of old
definitely a
stuff there,
win.
there's some books from 1830s and
Yeah,
from when the town was called Weston.
that's definitely stuff we gotta preserve.
Yeah, he has a complete inventory, a written
Yeah.
inventory of everything.
Yeah, I see him, he sent an inventory, is it him, or is it you? We got an inventory from somebody
Yeah,
It
about a
was
bunch
probably
of
Peter,
stuff.
yeah.
yeah, it's Peter.
So we had talked about the, that end room that we just rehabbed and plastered the ceilings and painted it.
Yeah,
Where Chief LaVoy used to store the fire equipment.
yeah.
I think that's been delegated for the Historic Society, is that?
Yes.
So a lot of that material that's in the old town hall could go into that building,
Yeah.
that room in this building, yeah.
And we looking at getting shelving or something
Yes,
for
yeah, there's
Sylvia?
already some built-in shelving, but we can add more shelving to that room, and they're pretty happy to have the room available too, for that purpose.
Okay.
I also understand there's an area in the town, the town library upstairs with a lot of historic
Yeah.
materials are there. I don't know how much room they have there, but I'm sure Mrs. Buck is aware of that also as an option.
It's something we're gonna have to look for in the future, some way of preserving town history, so.
The back library section is full, but the front was like a display cabinets.
Okay.
So all those books that came out of the old town hall, what condition are they in? Are they moldy?
From what I can see, most of them are in decent condition. I don't see any serious mold problems on everything. They're all pretty dried out, and,
Okay.
you know, a lot of them you can flip from page to page with no issue
Okay.
at all.
Yeah, those were, a lot of those were the ones that from upstairs behind the stage area,
Yeah.
and those offices. I think the ones you're talking about are the ones downstairs in the basement that
Yeah, I
have some
remember
mold
we
issues.
did
Yeah,
see
the ones in
some.
the basement, that's a
That
whole
stuff we
different.
can't touch,
yeah.
that has to be abated or
Yeah,
whatever.
we're gonna have to have somebody look at that.
Yeah.
Just didn't
Yeah,
wanna
to call the
introduce a
state.
problem.
You have to
Yeah,
call
the state has a
and they
program
come
for
out and look at it
records
and then
like
write them a
that
letter.
they can actually come in and destroy them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're eventually gonna have to do that, especially before anybody clears out the building. Yeah, it's another issue we're gonna have to follow up on.
All right.
What's up?
I don't have
You have any comments?
Nope.
Anybody else comments, concerns? Derek?
No, sir.
Jim?
No, sir?
Karen?
No, sir.
Motion to
Any-
adjourn.
Oh, stop. No, not yet. Anybody on,
Oh,
online, Zoom? Any comments or concerns?
Going once, twice. Okay.
Mr. Joe Conrad,
Yep.
did you want to introduce yourself, since you're running for selectman in the town?
Well, there are a lot of people in town that know me. I actually went to school here.
Okay.
Upstairs used to be the high school.
Wow.
Class of 68, last class to graduate from here. Because 69 became Quabog. I've helped Pete Hastings a lot when he ran into trouble looking for historical facts. So I spent 4 years on the Warren Historical Commission under Mrs. Buck.
Okay.
I spent 37 years working in the West Warren Mills. 39 if you count the 2 years that I worked there as a teenager. After Hardwick Knitters closed, I actually tried to get another business in there. I was working at Polymer Injection in Munson when they were gonna move. And I guess the place that they found in Bondsville was a lot cheaper than moving into the old Hardwick Knitters building. But I tried. I think that it's possible to get assembly work. I mean, you got all these companies that are suddenly coming back from China. We have mills that we could put them in.
Yeah. That mill project's actually progressing pretty good right now. I don't know if you've been following that with some of our meetings, but we've been talking about with the mills. Dex Trust Industries has taken over the mills. They're the property managers, and they have lots of businesses signed on going in there. They also have veterans home, housing going in there.
Yeah.
And some light manufacturing, and a variety of other things that are going on in there. The, not Corps of Engineers, who is it, the environmental one?
Clean
Clean
Harbors.
Clean Harbors.
Clean
Clean
Harbors.
Harbors is gonna be doing a training site in there.
Yeah.
Data center?
Data center, Bitcoin operation, green energy, technologies going in there. So there's a lot of stuff going in there. It's actually gonna be promising in the next few years here.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a lot of business coming into the town, within that complex.
The one thing that for about 35 years while working at Hardwick Knitters, I had to teach people
Yeah.
to run machinery. And with all the foreign nationals that were coming in, I literally had to learn their languages. It got to the point where my mother couldn't understand me. I had to relearn English.
Yeah, and, again, it's nice to have a diverse crowd and, have different perspectives throughout the community and through the companies. And they're doing a lot of great things over there, and right now, we're in the process of doing a master plan on infrastructure to identify the needs to help support that mill complex getting up and running to full capacity again. We are definitely looking forward to it. We're working our best, and right now we have several communities that have given us letters of support for the master plan for that project. and with the EDA, which is the Economic Development Agency, right? Administration. And they're gonna help, it's gonna open up a huge revenue source for us to be able to fix a lot of the things that we have going on in our community, like the sewer department, water infrastructure, roads, bridges. We need bridges, we need to fix them. So there's a lot of money that's gonna be injected into our community as part of this project, which is very exciting.
Gilbert Road underpass.
Mhm.
Now the railroad's gonna have to fix that thing, because you got cement falling to the road.
They own that, so.
They have to fix it,
Yeah,
because all you need is one car going under there, and have cement fall and kill somebody.
yeah. And I believe we talked about this last meeting.
Yes.
And we're working on that, so.
Another thing is, the Colonel Mountain Wildlife Area.
Hmm.
It's a state-owned property now. The state's gonna have to maintain those fire roads. Because I, for one, would not risk $1 million pumper past the end of pavement.
Yeah. When it comes to state property, it's very hard for us to get them to do their stuff. We've had interactions with them, with the beavers.
Yeah.
And because beavers are on state property, it's very difficult for us to handle that problem. And we've been working those issues with the state too, and last I heard, we have permission as long as the beavers are being used. And it's not just being thrown in a dumpster, as long as their pelt is being used, or the beaver is eaten, or it's being used for some purpose. It's not nuisance trapping, right? It's,
No,
it's hunting.
They allow, yes, the Mass Wildlife essentially said that they would definitely clear waivers for us to do trapping on their property.
Yeah.
They absolutely will not do it themselves. They have no liability and no responsibility when it comes to that. That's nature. So again, that's our burden, and it's actually something that we are addressing in our budget for next year.
Yep.
So.
In that meeting, though, they did say they would maintain the roads so that we
They,
could get.
they offered to open up the roads a little better.
Yeah.
I've followed up on that a few times, and you can, if anybody's likes to go up there, actually the thing that keeps the roads open the most are probably the ATVs and stuff of that nature.
Jeeps and stuff
Yeah.
going up there.
So they haven't done anything yet.
Well, I know that the road down to the beaver ponds is so overgrown, you couldn't get a four-wheeler down there.
Yeah. Yeah. And anytime dealing with the state, very difficult to get them to do anything.
Like pulling wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
They said they have hundreds of properties all over the state, and they have zero budget to maintain those properties in that way.
Yeah.
They buy the property back so that people of the towns, the state can have a recreational place to hike and bike and fish and hunt and all of that stuff. And as far as the cost of maintenance on those properties, it would be astronomical if they took every property and maintained it the way we'd like them to. So they said that, they apologize, but it's just not an option.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately, we don't invest enough money in our natural resources in the state.
you only get so much for a hunting license.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And not many people do it anymore.
No, no.
You know,
I haven't fired a weapon in 30 years. Although I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take me long to get back to marksman status.
I have one more quick comment.
okay.
The,
One second. Did you have anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Mr. Cox? Well, nice meeting you tonight. We've been hearing your name around here in town, and it's finally nice to see a face.
I've only been here for 71 years.
No, it's good to see, people coming into the community and,
The last time I ran for selectman was in 1971 against Milton Fountain.
Okay.
Didn't have a chance, but I had my name in there.
It's good. All right. Well, thank you very much, sir, and it was very nice to meet you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
And what did you have? I know we
The
had time.
town is no longer doing fishing and hunting licenses.
Okay. So they get to go through the state website?
I
That's
just,
how I usually
Nancy
do
just
mine.
said, Nancy
Yes.
just said they're not doing it anymore since
So the
maintenance
town's not
wasn't-
doing fishing and hunting licenses anymore, and,
Might have to
you know, I
go through
advise you to
Walmart.
go through, you know, the state website, which it's pretty easy to fill out. And once you do one on the website, it always has your information in there, so you just go back in with your password and just renew it. You know, makes it simple. And then you could get all your stamps and everything else that you need to get for the different types of items that you're gonna be hunting on. And your fishing license. Okay, all right. Well, now that you
Just
just
the
broke
gavel.
something. Was it the gavel?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no. All right, so,
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
all in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.